Okay, so I'd like to talk to you a little bit about generating advertising strategies. This is kind of interesting, I'm just going to give you examples that's going to help you create better ads. So let's start with the first one, and that's before and after strategy. Okay, so when you're creating your ad, one way to position or create the ad is to use something like a before and after, right? So you can use the strategy to show live without the product and then life after the product. So generally you would show like a negative visual image of life before the product and then a positive image after the product. Um, so this kind of shows you the sort of value and importance of your own product. And that's kind of a strategy that we would use for something like that. Okay, it's a simple way to understand product benefit and help your customer understand product benefit. Okay, let's move on to the next one, and that is the advice strategy, which basically is just saying we can help you. Okay, we can help you. And this is a good way to express the benefit of your product or your service. For example, in this ad, you're seeing, everyone needs to consume milk, because you want strong bones, and we can help you with our product. Okay, so you're basically sharing your product benefits by doing that. The next one is a testimonial strategy. So you see LeBron James, subscribing to Coca-Cola and supporting that brand. And it's very simple. That's exactly what they're trying to do there. Um, and it's a customer as well as a product based approach, right? Where you're using a famous person who is believable. And there's a logical connection to that person. Okay, let's move on to the next one, and that is the empathy strategy. This one's really great for fundraising, right? So what you're trying to do here is to say, we understand and care about you. And you try to build a relationship with the product. And of course, you have to make sure that you don't sound patronizing. And, what you need to do is be subtle. It's really important to be subtle. Um, don't say something like, "Well, we know what it's like to be a woman, so we developed this product because," instead of that, saying like, "Oh, well," say something more subtle, like having a baby changes everything. Something that connects you with the product, and you're building sort of empathy in some way, and so. Um, this is obviously a really great way for nonprofits. Very, very great way for nonprofits to raise money. All right, let's move on to the next one, and that's a demonstration strategy. Let's not confuse it with any kind of cheesy ad. It's a good ad. It's a really good ad, and it's a 1971 ad. And what it's trying to show you as is that suitcase that this gorilla is sitting on. It's a strong suitcase, okay? Especially in airports they throw these suitcases around, right? And so have a look.
Dear clumsy bellboys, brutal cab drivers, careless doormen, ruthless porters, savage baggage masters, and all butter-fingered luggage handlers all over the world. Have we got a suitcase for you?
All right, so basically says American Tourister there. Sorry about that ad that came up. But yeah, so it's a really great ad, and it's a demonstration strategy. Helping someone understand how strong a particular um, suitcase brand is. Okay, let's move on to the next one, and that's the knowledge strategy. So this one demonstrates the client's knowledge about their own products, and it's all about showing how much knowledge and skill and care goes into a specific product. This one's related to food. So let's take a quick look.
probably one of the worst inventions that came from the New World, not the Old World, was the word winemaker, because it puts you in the creative role. Whereas it's the quality of the grapes and the natural process that makes the wine. If you have really fine grapes that have complexity, you can make some of the finest wines that actually reflect not your idea of what you want in the bottle, but what the vineyard produces.
Okay, so this is kind of what this particular, Ridge is the name of the winery here, and you're hearing either the owner or the winemaker talk about the knowledge that he has about the product. Okay, so that definitely that's another kind of strategy. It's called a knowledge strategy. The next one is a heritage strategy. Okay, so in this particular one, you're looking at unique stories, and you must communicate your unique selling proposition here. And the ad I'm going to show you is a Jack Daniels campaign, how they put a lot of unique care and attention into making Jack Daniels. Okay, so you're definitely hearing a lot of heritage based conversation as well as knowledge. But have a look.
This isn't just a whiskey label. This is a flag. And like any flag that stands for something, there's a story behind it. A story of independence forged in the hills of Tennessee by a man named Jasper Newton Daniel, more commonly known as Jack, who after leaving home at an early age, learned the art of whiskey making from a minister and eventually opened his own distillery when he was 16. Jack had a saying, "Every day we make it, we'll make it the best we can." And that same standard continues today. Every single bottle of Jack Daniel's Tennessee whiskey sold around the world is still made here in Lynchburg, Tennessee. It's where Jack's way lives on. You can see it in every drop of water that comes from the Cave Spring Hollow, the same pure, natural resource that Jack used. You can feel it in the heat of charcoal being made to mellow our whiskey. Drop by drop, every batch takes the better part of a week to make its way through 10 feet of sugar maple charcoal. It's this extra step that mellows our whiskey, and part of what makes Jack Daniels a Tennessee whiskey and not a bourbon. You can smell it as new American white oak barrels are toasted and charred to perfection. These barrels give our whiskey its natural color and rich flavor. They're an essential ingredient in our process. It's why we're one of the few whiskey makers that insist on making our own. And you can taste it, like Master Distiller Jeff Arnett does, with a sip. Jack never used a calendar to tell him when his whiskey was ready. And neither do we. There are other ways to make whiskey, but they wouldn't be Jack's way. And his way has earned him a lot of interesting and noteworthy friends over the years.
Okay, so you're seeing that
This is a flag.
So that was heritage. Okay, so next one here is owner in the ad strategy. Okay, so in this particular ad, they're talking about how it takes a tough man to make a tender chicken. And who you're seeing, this person on in the ad is Frank Perdue, who is the owner of Perdue Chicken. And he seems kind of down to earth, and it's he has integrity and all of that. But I will tell you that in the advertising world, there's an old joke, and it says the only last resort should be to show the client's face. So don't show the client's face as much as possible. This guy somehow made it here. So have a look.
When some things are natural, you know it. That's the same philosophy I apply to my chickens. I raised a unique breed with more breast meat than ever before. The only way I know how, naturally. Purdue chickens grow up healthy, eating a diet of wholesome natural foods like golden corn and marigold petals. I'd never add anything unnatural to enhance a Purdue. Why tamper with perfection?
Okay, it's funny. But yeah, don't use it unless you really need to. Here's the next one. This is a competitor strategy. And we've seen how people tend to compare Pepsi versus Coke and FedEx versus UPS. This particular one compares Mac versus PC. So instead of brand names, they're actually comparing markets. Okay, but it's a beautiful ad. Let's see.
Hello, I'm a Mac.
And I am no one.
Okay, PC, what do you...
Listen, friend, it's not very safe for me right now. You understand? There's a lot of spyware out there. Sneaks into your system, follows you wherever you may go. In fact, take these.
No.
They'll keep you safe.
PC, honestly, I don't need them. Really, I'm good. I run Mac OS 10, so I don't have to worry about your spyware and viruses. You take them.
Yeah, you're right. I probably should have a backup anyway.
Yeah.
You never saw me. Never saw who? Me, PC. Oh!
Okay, let's move on to the next one, and that is a challenger strategy. It looks like the video is not coming up, which is fine. What I want to share with you is any kind of a army ad, military, right, Navy, recruitment ad for police, for nursing. Have you got what it takes? Persuading people to do something more than to buy something, right? So that's what a challenger strategy is. I'm sure you've seen those ads. I'm going to move on to the next one, and that is a negative to positive strategy. Okay, so look at how clever some of these ads can be, right? It takes a boring sort of negative product perception into a positive one. Okay, so the American idea of a car has to be like big and souped up, right? Now that idea is kind of turned upside down on its head with this particular VW Polo ad, which talks about how it's small but tough. Okay, so that's what it is. It's small but it's grand. Petite is small, grand is big. You can probably figure that one out there. So negative to positive strategy. So come up with a clever argument and make a boring negative product perception into a positive one. Okay, I'm going to move on to the next ad, and you probably don't have a clue about what this particular beer is, right? So this is one of a very old beer and a very old ad, but I'd like you to see it.
Mrs. Jill from Happy Hill, she's busy through the day. When it comes to dinner, she picks a winner and greets her hubby this way. Happy thought, go Goble.
What a happy thought, go Goble.
Goble.
What a new life taste,
Go Goble.
smoother beer,
Through the Goble way.
new life taste.
Try it now and you will say,
What a happy thought,
Go Goble. Happy thought is right. When you serve Goble at dinner time or any time, you're sure to make a hit. Today, Goble is better than ever. The secret's in Goble's new live taste. It makes Goble more satisfying than ever before. See for yourself why folks say,
what a happy thought, go Goble, go Goble.
Okay, so this beer actually was terrible. Okay, and then they came up with a new beer. Okay, the same brand, and they used what we call an honesty strategy. One of the best things about the new beer is that it doesn't taste anything like the old beer. Okay, so basically they're saying we were terrible, now it's not. Okay, it doesn't taste anything like the old one. It's way better tasting. Okay, very clearly explain headline and being honest about that particular new product that was being launched. Okay. Another strategy is what we call a repositioning strategy. Okay, so let me tell you that Volvo, the brand, the car brand, was always a very safe, practical brand. And they said, well, we need to change our branding from safety to sexy. So we got to come up with something really cool. All right. So let's go see it. What do they do to make the very safe, practical family car into a sexy luxury car? Oh, what happened there? Okay, so let me tell you what happened here. Actually, the whole idea for them to move from safety to sexy was to say, well, we have a market, there is youth who would be interested in our product, and so that's why we want to change it to sexy. By the way, this didn't work at all. They went back to safety after this. Repositioning, it needs to be believable, okay? I think this was a believable ad, but it was not as marketable. Okay, so just because, let's say, cotton swabs, are used by fine artists, should reposition? Should they reposition their brand and focus on that tiny market of fine artists, or should they just stick to what they know best, right, and continue with that sort of positioning? And that's a question I think Volvo has to ask as well. Most people love their cars for safety and uh, practical use and family car kind of thing. Should they stick to it, or should they not? Okay, so went back and forth quite a bit. Eventually they said, well, we need to go back to safety because that's what's going to work with us. Okay, so this is the final ad for this video.
Honey, you don't have to worry. Everyone's a little bit nervous on the first day of school.
I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, you do. You can decide.
So, I can decide?
Yeah. You're in control. Imagine it. Go on. Imagine it.
Maybe I can make some new friends.
Okay. And what are their names?
Kelly and Melly. I'm gonna spend every lunchtime with them for the next 100 years.
Really? 100 years is a long time.
Well, at least as long as we can then. It will be hard, but we promise to call each other.
And then?
Then I'll study hard and focus on school.
Okay. Then what happens?
Then I'll travel the world. Do you want to come with me, Mum?
Oh, I don't think you'll be alone. I'm sure you'll meet somebody nice along the way.
What do you mean?
Nothing. Carry on.
Then I'll get a job.
Cool. If you're happy, I'm happy.
Then I'll meet someone.
Okay.
Right.
I'm sorry.
And I want a house.
Of course.
Like the one we have.
Yeah.
And my own family. And my daughter.
Well, that sounds good. And then what?
And I can sing.
Well, that sounds like a good plan. Don't you think?
Yeah. Let's see what happens.
All right. So, do you grab a tissue? Beautiful ad, hey? Okay, so I just wanted to share with you the different kinds of strategies and interesting ads that you're seeing here. And hopefully, these will inspire you to generate your own strategies and come up with great ads. Okay, thank you.